What's going on, everybody? It's Rich Perez welcoming you back into your weekly rundown. Joined in with me, as always, my brother from another, my co-host, all the way from the 305, Kayson Davis. How you doing, Kay?
I'm doing great, brother. How you doing? How's life been treating you?
It's been all right, man. Football's back. It's been a crazy 3 weeks. It's been an up and down roller coaster if you're a Giants fan like we are. But we shall get into it because man, there is a lot of topics to go off of right now. And to start off, let's go ahead and get into some local teams. We're going to start off with the New York Jets, who are coming into week 4 with a 2-1 record after losing in their opening Monday night game to the San Francisco 49ers. They come back, beat the Titans. Little shaky win, but in the NFL, it's all about getting wins, so it's all good there. And then they come out and they completely annihilate in their week 3 game. And now they're heading into Denver in another game that it looks pretty winnable when you consider what's going on in Denver. You know, Bo Nix can be a good quarterback at some point in his career, but right now he's a rookie quarterback. This Jets defense, even without Hassan Reddick, at least in that last matchup, looks like they're kind of rounding out in the form as one of the top defenses in the league. Aaron Rodgers may not be who he used to be, but if he showed us anything in week 3, it was that he has not lost much of a step. And then when you look at the weapons around him, like can't beat it. Can't beat it. Can't beat it. They've got everything covered. They've got a wide receiver one, and Garrett Wilson, and their running back situation's amazing. We still got to see what's going on with the coach in there, but right now, I think if you ask the Jets fan if 2-1 going up against this Denver Broncos team is something that they were looking forward to, it's something that they expected, they would probably tell you yes. And it's everything that we thought that the Jets were going to be coming into this NFL season, or even coming into last season when they signed Aaron Rodgers. Minus the Hassan Reddick stuff has been as advertised, and they're on point, when they're on the money, they're one of the best teams in the league, and they can absolutely compete for a Super Bowl.
Yeah, like you said, this is what some people expected. Excuse me, that maybe they would be after they signed Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, we only got to see about 5 seconds of that last year. So we all know Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Fame quarterback, Super Bowl quarterback. So we thought he'll come over there and make a difference. I think a few years leading up to that, their defense was pretty good. We knew that, but we thought that offense had to kind of catch up a little bit. So you go out there and get Aaron Rodgers, and now you got him. Like you say, he's probably not exactly the quarterback he was in the past, but he's still Aaron Rodgers, and coming off the Achilles injuries, he's probably just getting into the flow of things. I don't think they looked as good in week 1, but obviously it's kind of still a new team because, like I said, Aaron Rodgers only played 5 seconds last season, so they gotta it's a good start. They're still probably building chemistry and trying to get things going. So we see how far they can kind of take it from here. I know Sauce Gardner and them trying to hold down the defense. So we'll see how far they go.
Yeah, man. The scary thing to me too, when I was looking into like the last 3 weeks for the Jets, we know how good Aaron Rodgers is, and we know how good Garrett Wilson is. He was a phenom at Ohio State, and he's been that wide receiver one for them for pretty much all of his 3-year career in the league. Um, and it still seems like they haven't gotten that connection yet. And once that connection comes, I really think that this team is going to be scary. Now, we said earlier going into week 4, they're going to be playing the Denver Broncos, who are week 3. They're 1-2 on the year. Bo Nix, he looked really good against Tampa. Not gonna lie, like that was definitely one of those shockers. But other than that, the first 2 weeks, what we saw was a guy who looks like a rookie quarterback still. And Sean Payton's one of those guys that is known as that quarterback guru, can get the most out of any quarterback that you throw at him. But again, we're talking about rookie quarterbacks here. This Jets defense, I think, is going to feast against him. And I know they got some pieces in Denver, but I'm expecting the Jets offense to show out. So coming into week 4, I've got the Jets coming up 3-1. And pardon me if I'm wrong. No, they're gonna be second in the division to follow with that. What do you say?
I agree with you. I think they're going to Denver and get a win. Like you said, rookie quarterback over there after the situation that happened with Russell Wilson. So I think the Jets go in. They're kind of on a win streak, riding high. So I think they ride that momentum into Dallas. I mean Denver, and get themselves a win.
For sure, for sure. Let's go ahead and move over to the other team in New York, the New York Giants. We had to go ahead and move on with them afterwards. Okay, we didn't get to talk about it. Week one, extremely messy. You couldn't get any worse than that. Had fans leaving early, booing. Daniel Jones looked terrible, terrible, which most Giants fans at this point kind of have had enough. Then you go into week two against the Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders have been a team that the Giants and specifically Daniel Jones has been able to own over his career. And you expected him to bounce back as well as the rest of the team and be able to come through there with a win. Now, there was a lot tied into that matchup. If you watch Hard Knocks like I did, you saw Brian Dable say that he wanted to trade up or was willing to trade up for Jaden Daniels. And from what we've seen in 3 weeks from Jaden Daniels, the kid is the truth. He's phenomenal. We can see why Dable and Shane were thinking about it. But the Giants didn't come away with a win there. They are the first team, I think, in NFL history to lose a game after scoring all touchdowns and their opponent only scoring field goals. So that was something that was definitely something to behold there. But the Giant, aside from the loss, they did bounce back in they throw for 4 touchdowns. Malik Neighbors looks as advertised. So you come off of that loss, obviously disappointed that you're 0-2, but expecting to see something with this offense. They showed you that they weren't completely inept. And then you go into Cleveland. Against Cleveland, completely blew them out in the first half. Didn't really score any points, but did enough to get the win in the second half. And again, the offense looked good, looked amazing. Right now, the Giants, they're 1-2. This is an NFC East that looks to be had when you consider Washington with a rookie quarterback is in first place right now. Philly looks a little shaky. We're gonna get into Dallas. Okay, with the Giants, what have you seen so far from them? And do you think this is a season that can be recovered, or should we already be talking about which quarterback we're gonna draft in April?
I think two things could be true. I think the season can be recovered. I think obviously not going down 0-3 was great. You talked about the Washington game. If they kick that field goal, or if Neighbors catches that pass that he dropped out of bounds, uh, they might win that game. So their season looks like 2-1 right now instead of 1-2. So they had a great chance to win there in Washington. I think the kicker got hurt, so that's kind of went into the
Pre-game.
decision not to kick the field goal. So they try to go to Neighbors on fourth down. He doesn't catch it. He catches it. It's maybe a different ball game. They end up winning that game. So I think the season is still recoverable. They look bad in places, but they looked all right in places, like you said. Uh, the rookie wide receiver has looked great. I think he had like 2 touchdowns last Sunday. So there's some bright spots, but I also think that I guess not unless Daniel Jones plays out of his mind for the rest of the season. Like you said, some people in New York are kind of just fed up with him. So you give him all that money, you may say he's part of the reason why Saquon's not here no more, and he just doesn't seem like he's worth that type of money. So I think at least the fans in New York are kind of ready to move on, and I think they've seen enough from him. You go out there and you let Saquon go so you can shore up that offensive line, and things still haven't looked super great. But there's still a lot of season left. Like I said, it's better than being down 0-3. So they still can save themselves because there's been some bright spots there. A couple of changes here and there, they could be 2-1.
Yeah, man, for sure. And it's the big one, right? It's Dallas week. If there's a team, if you're a Giants fan, there's a team that you despise most, it's going to be Dallas, right? When you talk about the fans, the rivalry, NFC East, all of that stuff. And what I've seen from Daniel Jones in the last 2 weeks, I think that that's what you're gonna get. That's the best you're gonna get. To me, he's an average player. Like he's I don't think he's a bum. but he's not a franchise guy to me either. He lucked out and they drafted a wide receiver for him who, hey, if you ask me, I think he's wide receiver one. I think he's better than Marvin Harrison Jr. That's not to discredit Marvin Harrison Jr. either, because Marvin Harrison Jr. is a beast. He's a problem. But Neighbors is some stuff that just makes your jaw drop. Pause. Um, the interesting thing going into this week with Dallas tomorrow, Dallas is also 1-2 after getting those big deals off with Dak and CD. Only one win to show for it. And what I've noticed is this is a Dallas team. Well, we all know number one, they didn't really sign anybody in the offseason. They let a couple free agents go. They were able to retain Dak, CD, like I said. But what them being 1-2 right now is the direct result of not making things happen to improve the team in the offseason. This team does not have a run game. They thought that bringing Ezekiel Elliott back was going to solve all their problems. It hasn't. And their defense is Swiss cheese. It's in disarray. They can't stop the run. If I'm Brian Dable and the New York Giants tomorrow night, Baltimore only threw 15 passes last Sunday. The Saints just rank Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara's still good, but he's at the back end of his career. He had a career day against them. If I'm Brian Dable and the New York Giants, I am pounding the rock. I'm running the ball nonstop. I'll take a couple of shots to neighbors when the opportunity presents itself. And by the way, we might see a Josh Norman OBJ part two with him and Diggs in this game. But I see what the weaknesses is for Dallas, and I'm attacking that. The offensive line seems very improved from years previous. We don't have Saquon anymore, but to a lesser degree, it's like when the Giants lost Tiki Barber, and then they went to Ahmad Bradshaw and the crew, right? Addition by subtraction. Singletary's been solid. He's been solid for them. He's got to fix his fumbling issues, but he's been super solid. He's been able to make defenders miss. You know, Jones' biggest asset is his legs. So when you don't want him to throw it, you want him to run. I'm using those two in different run packages as much as I possibly can. And that is the scheme to me. Again, along with taking some shots to neighbors, I feel like the Giants could win tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. I think they have a chance to win. I think kind of the game plan you just laid out is a recipe for success for them. I guess their neighbors has seemed like your best player. So, like you said, you want to get a couple shots to him, but I think it'll be tough to kind of to go away from him. I know you want to attack that run game, but it's kind of how much do you think that run game can really lead you to a win in the sense of you're going kind of away from your best player maybe during for most of the game.
I hear you, but let's remember two things in this matchup. Three, really. Like I said, the biggest thing to me is Dallas's defense cannot stop the run at all. That's why you got to attack it. As great as Malik Neighbors has been, got him in fantasy, by the way. Great matchup. Who's throwing him the ball? And who's been able to capitalize throughout said person's career when he's throwing the ball?
I mean, Daniel Jones is the one throwing him the ball, but I think he's been able to make a lot of plays to get open. So I guess, like you said, you still try to give him some chances in there, but well, we'll see how it goes. I guess this will be the game where maybe Daniel Jones can show and maybe trying to change some people's heart about he's really worth the money. Obviously, you're still going to rely on your running backs and things like that, but if he can make those couple passes in the air to kind of lead them to the victory, and then still be able to make some plays on his feet, and then kind of attack that run game, he would kind of be able to show like maybe why that money was worth it.
I don't know if I'm gonna go there. I'm kind of done with Daniel Jones myself. Like I said, I think the best that you get from Daniel Jones is what you saw these last 2 weeks. But I would love to get a salvage season. I would love to beat the Dallas Cowboys. Haven't been able to do it since 2016. That was back when Eli was the quarterback and OBJ was still there. right? So, I just want to see a win at the end of the day. To me, I'm not going to call this Giants season a lost season, but I'm not a guy that's expecting a playoff appearance from the New York Giants. My hope is that it's a semi-respectable season. Can you get about 7 wins, maybe 8 wins, which is not great, but I think what the Giants won 6 games last year. Can you improve on that? Because if you can improve on that, or if things stay the same, changes need to be made. And I'm not just talking about the quarterback position. And I like David and I like Joe Shane, but they in year 3 need to show something because we can't keep living off the year 1 playoff appearance.
I mean, true, but I think in a way, if you compare the seasons, you kind of lose maybe your best player, and then you're relying on a rookie wide receiver as your kind of number one option to still get the same result. It's kind of like getting the same result but with less, even though it looks the same numbers on paper. You're probably a worse team, so it may look better when you really break it down, if that makes sense.
No, I got you. We know the optics of the NFL. So they just like especially how the season ended with the Giants last year. Like he got rid of just about everybody on the staff. And there's a lot of that's a whole other story to get into. But I mean, I think there's got to be some type of encouragement. There's got to be something shown throughout this year to make people, and the most important one is going to be John Mara, believe that you're the guy.
Right. I think there's still the changes coming. I mean, it's still kind of not 100% the team that they put together. I mean, Daniel Jones wasn't their quarterback, and now you can say we gave your quarterback a chance, and now it's time for us to kind of move on and do what we think is best for the team. We lost Saquon, we lost other pieces, Xavier Kenny, and things like that to pay this guy and to show you and give him a chance to prove himself, and he has it. And now it's time for us to go our way. So I think Dable is unfortunately going to ride that year one and be like, this is what I could do, and then depending on how this year turns out, you can say it's not coaching. I was able to do the same with less or more with less or whatever the situation is. So I think while it's I think in the times now you can kind of put this with basketball too. We want results kind of faster.
Yeah.
Things are moving quick. You want those results faster, but I think in a way, if you kind of again sit back and break it down, this is not their quarterback. So it's kind of hard to judge me on like your guy. Like you want it. Maybe I'm not saying this is the case, but maybe if it was up to them, he would have been gone after year one, or maybe they wouldn't have paid him that money. So like we gave the guy a chance. It's time for us to kind of fully put our plan into place. And they also had some cap restrictions that held them back, that they had to clear up and different things like that. So they came in here and kind of I think that year one pushed the rebuild a little faster than it was supposed to be. So now people are like, okay, let's build on that, and we kind of regressed a little bit. So it's like, why are we regressing? This looks bad. But really, the year one was kind of more of a miracle, where we should have been in 3 years of a rebuild, in which we are, but it doesn't look like it because we won year one. We wasn't supposed to.
So let me get into that a little bit because you're spitting facts. Year 1 to me might have been like one of the worst things that possibly could have happened to the Giants because it set you back. I was following a lot of what Joe Shane was doing that year, and I know he did like extensive work with CJ Stroud coming in, who was going to be drafted that draft. And we've seen what CJ Stroud has turned into since then. So they weren't able to get their quarterback because they miraculously found some ways to win, which it wasn't a great season either. They only had 9 wins, but it was enough to get them in. They beat a Minnesota team with a suspect defense, and out goes any chance of really establishing your rebuild. I completely agree with you about wanting results first. I think you got to give guys a chance to build their program. And for anybody that wants to say anything about Joe Shane and Dable being willing to give Daniel Jones the contract, we the the structure of the contract tells you everything you need to know about how they feel. They were able to get out of it in this at the end of this season, which tells you that there's not a complete belief in the quarterback if they wanted an out just after 2 years. Also, if you're gonna say, well, you shouldn't have paid him anyway, the team's coming off a playoff victory, right? Like as a team, like I can get it, I can go into optics about how bad it would look just in optics that you got rid of the quarterback after he led you to a victory. You know how stories can go in this world. But as a team, if you're a guy that sees that this quarterback, because believe it or not, that there's guys in that locker room that believe in Daniel Jones. You see that he's able to help lead you to a postseason victory, and then they get rid of him right after that. What are you thinking? How does that look? It's not it's not great. It doesn't look great, and I think that's they were kind of their backs against the wall when they gave him that deal. But it was smart negotiating to be able to get the out after 2 years. And I'm not gonna lie to you, like I said, I'm not an overly optimistic fan. I expect this to be a not like a winning season or anything like that. I just want it to be semi-respectable because if it's not semi-respectable, I believe somebody will get fired. I don't want anybody to get fired, but it's just the nature of the game. If it's semi-respectable, you still put yourself in a position to get a quarterback. We know that they were trying to trade up last year. There's some great picks coming in this year. Shador Sanders, Quinn Ewers, your boy Cam Ward looks amazing right now. So there's options there. And I still believe in Dable as a quarterback guru, but we'll see. I think it all kind of we'll know all that we need to know after tomorrow night because it could go wow, I say they should attack it could happen and they could win, or it could be same old, and another 40-0 loss like last year.
Sorry. Yeah. So, yeah, I agree with most of what you said. Like I said, I think you kind of have to give them at least a little, maybe another year. You got. See, the thing is, when you make these type of changes, sometimes you kind of got to be in it for the long haul. I think you let them make their changes and go after the quarterback that they want. Because if you fire them now, you're kind of just going back to year one again. A new coach, a new all that type of stuff. So excuse me, we kind of made it this far. We kind of might as well stick it through for a couple more seasons. It's not like we are a championship team and we're just not making it. We're kind of exactly where we're supposed to be, and in some aspects, you may not have blamed it on coaching. So you kind of got to let them play this thing out because you don't let them get 75% of the way there and then kind of just like, all right, let's blow it up and start from the top.
And I think if you're Mara, you shouldn't want to blow it up. Like the Giant, like if we can keep it real for a second, the Giants are slowly becoming the Cleveland Browns. Like how many coaches have we had since we got rid of Coughlin? Like too many to count, right? We always think that the next guy is the next guy. I think Dave Gettleman set us back way too much for us to reset. When I talk about that someone possibly getting fired, it's you hear all these stories in the media and you just see it as the nature of the game. I'm with you 100%. I don't think anybody should get fired. I think that they've shown enough to warrant another year and specifically to be able to work with their guy.
Right. And what does the media know anyway?
Yeah, 100%. Um, Speaking of, let's go ahead and jump into that. This has been a topic that's been on my mind for years, but with the start to this NFL season, with a couple of the situations that we've seen some guys find themselves in, it's the perfect time to bring it up now. Are teams giving up too early? Or let me not even say that. Are we labeling guys busts in the league too early? Is it more about that they ended up in a bad situation than they just couldn't hack it, right? The biggest topic of conversation the last week and a half was Bryce Young getting benched in Carolina, and everybody came off and said it's not Bryce's fault, right? He's just in a dumpster fire situation. Obviously, Andy Dalton, Red Rifle comes in, and they come through and get an upset victory, right? So that's we'll see what happens there. But when you look at Sam Darnold, who, and this is gonna be sorry, Jets fans, this is gonna be an indictment on y'all if Sam ends up having a good career. Sam Darnold was the third overall pick in the draft. Not a good career in New York with the Jets. Gets sent to Carolina, again, not great. Goes to San Francisco, actually beats out Trey Lance for the backup job in San Francisco. Finds himself in Minnesota, and after an injury to JJ McCarthy, he becomes the starter. And through 3 weeks, Sam Darnold has looked like USC Sam Darnold, right? So there's an example right there. Now let's go to Justin Fields. Justin Fields, who this is my specific one, because Justin Fields was one of the best. He was the number one recruit coming out of Georgia in high school. He was a phenomenal player at Ohio State. And then he ends up in Chicago, which we don't even need to get started on how the quarterback situation has gone in the last decade and a half for the Chicago Bears. I've been kind of caping for Justin Fields his whole professional career. The Chicago Bears did not really give Justin Fields a ton to work with. They end up with the first overall pick. Caleb Williams has been talked about as his generational talent. We're going to go get Caleb Williams. Justin, where do you want to go? You want to go to Pittsburgh? Cool, we're trading you to Pittsburgh. Justin Fields wasn't even supposed to be the starter in Pittsburgh this year, even though a lot of people have been arguing for it. Injuries to Russell Wilson force him in there. He's 3-0, and not only is he 3-0, but he looks damn good while getting his team to this 3-0 start. And we know the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is the organization that you want to get drafted to. You have the coach and you have the front office that just get things done. It's a recipe for success. And then my last example, Jordan Love gets hurt week 1. Malik Neighbors was drafted by the Titans 2 years ago. They go ahead and draft Will Levis last year. Will Levis ends up being their guy. Malik Willis, didn't look that great in Tennessee. He's 2-0 as a starter in Green Bay though. Right? Now is it so much Malik Willis or is it Matt LaFleur? We can argue more for Matt LaFleur, but the point stands. Maybe we should start looking at the situations that these guys find themselves in before we start labeling them busts. And this
Right.
is a conversation that goes across the league too. Not
Right.
across the league, across sports.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I think it happens in every sport. I think it's a little bit of both. I think that sometimes, like in Sam Darnold's case, you come at a USC maybe at I don't know 22, and you're going to New York with all this money in the world. He missed the game because he had mono. So you think maybe that wasn't the greatest place to be for you as a young kid with all this money and you're in New York with bright lights. I don't know where he's from, like growing up wise, but obviously I guess he played in LA. But you never know. You get all this money, you go somewhere. So sometimes it may have took him growing up and being in New York for a few years and being in this place and learning from this and learning different organizations and then finally getting somewhere and really making it work after having that journey where like if he maybe stayed in New York and those type of things, it just wasn't going to maybe work out. So some people need that to kind of happen to them for them to kind of grow and the whole comeback story type of thing. And then I think sometimes you're just drafted to a bad organization. Like you might get there at a weird time where the coach and the GM are arguing, and that kind of trickles down to the rest of the team, or maybe the GM and the ownership are arguing, and that kind of trickles down to the rest of the team. Or it's just not a winning franchise. Sometimes you can just go to a losing franchise, and that type of mindset kind of changes things where people aren't really trying to win, and that type of thing can kind of derail your career a little bit. So I think in a lot of cases, like you have to look at the situation, and then you kind of look at them separately in each case. Like it could be the player themselves kind of holding themselves back, or you know things like that. Sometimes you just need to grow in life. It could just be the team. The team is not the greatest organization. Like you said, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's the place you want to be. You know, there's stability there. Coughlin's, Tomlin. Wait, what's his name again? I'm sorry.
Tomlin.
Tomlin. Okay, I thought I was saying it wrong. Tomlin's been there for forever now, so there's some stability there. Obviously, Big Ben being there, and they've I don't think they had to lose the season in over 10 years or something now. So that's like somewhere you want to go because you know. But then there's other places where like teams just aren't winning or aren't really trying to win, so that can kind of hurt you.
Yeah, man. I mean, like even another example, Baker Mayfield. He was okay in Cleveland. He ends up in Carolina, not so good. But then he's in Tampa taking over for Tom Brady. He looks like the guy. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. Like I just think because even look at the perfect to get back to Justin Fields, like Justin Fields leaves Chicago. They get Caleb Williams. They surround Caleb Williams with a ton of talent. Caleb Williams so far doesn't look that great. And I mean, I'm gonna cut him some slack. He's a rookie quarterback, but that to me is a situation kind of thing.
Right, exactly. Your situation that you're in can really hurt you. You see people like I went here and these people wasn't trying to win, or I went here and maybe they drafted me. That's another situation. Maybe they drafted me, but Aaron Rodgers is in front of me, so I never got a chance to play. I never got a chance to develop and go out there and make mistakes or things like that. So there's just so many different situations that can kind of hurt somebody's career that you may not see from the outside looking in. So you never really know, and it's so easy to call people bust and things like that. But it's good to see some of these guys having comeback stories and go to different places, even if they had to take a real long route to get there, and now they're finally being able to show what they can do.
Yeah, man, 100%. And I mean, this is a conversation that'll go on for prior to the dawn of time, but I just thought it was definitely worthy of bringing it up, especially like if you're a Tennessee Titans fan, you got to be like completely upset when you see Malik Willis just lighting it up in Green Bay and Will Levis just looks not good in Tennessee right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a crazy situation.
Um, let's get a little college football. Okay, your Canes have been on point this year. They're ranked in the top 10 right now, I believe.
I think they're like seven.
Cam Ward, the prize in the transfer portal last year. Y'all got him, and he just has completely transformed the Canes back into prominence again. So I wish Mike was here, but I gotta ask you as a fellow as a Cane as well. Is the U back?
Uh, that is a great question. I think obviously it's what we're 3 games into the season. We'll see. I mean, making it to the ACC championship would be big for them. To say they're back, the thing is, if Cam Ward was going to be here for multiple years, I would say yeah, because now you're building something. I guess with the transfer portal, nobody's really here for multiple years, but obviously, I think this will be his one season here. Uh, but I think I seen it was like a stat that came out that Florida has the most NFL people from Florida. Florida has the most NFL players in the league right now. So the talent is there. The talent's always been there, and people love the youth. So I think if they could make a run at the ACC championship, maybe sneak into that playoffs, I
I
would.
think
I
they're
would.
in. You got was it 12 teams now? I think they're
Yeah,
in.
we got to see how the rest of the season ends. I think with 12 teams, you could afford to take maybe a loss, maybe two here or there, and still sneak in. But we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. But if he can come and make that impact, I think the hype around the team is back. They just now have to ride that hype and get their next quarterback and get those next pieces because after he leaves, they can go back down the drain next week, like right after he leaves, like the week after he leaves, it go down the drain. So he's bringing the hype back to it now, and if they make a run, that'll bring hype back to it. And I think that's kind of what they've been waiting for. They needed someone to come bring that hype back to get people to want to come back and play for the U and things like that. So I would have to see how the season ends to call it, but I think they're on a good path now, and the hype is there. They're just waiting to kind of to blow the roof off.
The biggest test of the season for the Canes is going to be October 19th when they play Louisville, because that's going to be Louisville's coming in as the 15th ranked team. Like they got Virginia Tech on Friday. I expect them to run the gauntlet there. Cal, same thing, good team, but again, I expect them to beat Cal. If they come away, because Cam Ward, I think has impressed me more than anything when like you see the clips of some of the stuff that he's doing, how he's leading that offense and that team. I seen a clip their last game. He was telling the defender literally where they were gonna go score, like Larry Bird, and then they did it. You know, if they come away with like a not just a win, but like do some things against Louisville, I'm ready to put them up there.
Yeah, I think you look at some of their wins. Florida was a dominant win last week versus
South Florida.
USF. Yeah, USF. Another dominant win. It was kind of close in the first half, but they kind of pull away in that second half. So the wins have been dominant. So I don't think we've seen that in a while. I think my first year at UM, we went and played Florida in Orlando and kind of got smacked. So uh, that come away with these wins in dominant fashion. I think you see his talent, and the talent is there. And I think they've always had talent. They just haven't really been able to put it together correctly in the last couple of years. They haven't had that dominant quarterback in a while. I think I've seen another stat where like UM has no quarterback from UM has been drafted since like 2000, and that's kind of crazy when you think about the U. So they haven't had that quarterback. So he's here. He's bringing the hype back, and let's see where it goes.
In other news, the Colorado Buffaloes, they wrote them off, Kay. They wrote them off. I wasn't ready to write them off. The Colorado Buffaloes, they are 3-1 right now. Colorado Buffaloes coming in 3-1. So I think Colorado won 4 games last year, which obviously wasn't the start that Prime and Coach Prime and Shador and the crew were looking for. They went through that transfer portal really hard and were able to come away with a bunch of talent. You got Travis Hunter, who's the don't you can't even argue it. Travis Hunter's the best player in college football right now. Should be leading the Heisman. We haven't seen anybody ever in the history of football play to this level where he's at a high level. He's playing wide receiver and cornerback, and would be if he chose to do one or the other would be drafted highly regardless. And he's saying he's going to go into the league next year and do both. Whoever gets him, like he's going to be your cornerback, he's going to be your wide receiver, and I believe in it. And Shador's kind of picked up where he's left off. They got beat up by Nebraska. They did. I'm not gonna like give it an excuse for them because when you're a contending team, that just shouldn't happen. But I mean, everything else, like I felt like when they played North Dakota State week one, like it's a long layoff, it's a brand new team. They're just starting to get into their groove. They got to figure out you can't figure out who you are as a team through practice. Like you practice things, but you ultimately figure yourselves out when you get those live game reps. And I feel like those first 2 weeks was them trying to figure themselves out. This past, the Baylor game was that can be a season changing win for them when you think about that they were on the ropes. You think they're gonna lose, and then Shador kind of just throws this Hail Mary to Wester in the end zone, and he's able to get it with no time left. And then Travis Hunter makes the game winning play in overtime to force the fumble in the end zone for the touchback. Like that's make it or break it stuff. It's been a while since I've seen a win like that. That was definitely one of that's gonna be like game of the year. I don't know if we're gonna see another game that tops that. So coming in, they're going in to play UCF. I think they're like really. underdogs, which surprises me a little bit because I know UCF isn't like a star-studded team, and Colorado's got a pretty solid offense right now. If they're able to get this win over UCF, can we kind of look at some Colorado's naysayers and tell them they need to chill? Are they for real?
Uh, Maybe I kind of they kind of started the season off okay last season, and Hunter got hurt, and that kind of derailed their season. So having him back this year has been big. Obviously making plays, and then Shador doing what he does. Uh, yeah, I think you kind of want to see how the season plays out for them. I hate to use that excuse again. I think you can start to say like, look, we're winning, they're winning, so some of you guys should kind of maybe eat your words a little bit, but we also don't want to jump it too soon because again, if someone gets hurt or something, if Hunter gets hurt or someone goes down, but I think because Colorado's kind of more of an in-your-face team. They're going out there. They're trying to let you know that we're going to beat you. They're talking. They're kind of like how Prime was when he was playing. So the team's kind of taking on that. So I think people quickly want to write them off and give them no type of excuses and stuff. So uh, but you don't. At the same time, I think they could start looking back at people like, yeah, we're real. Even when we're down, we can come back. We can win. We can do this. We're making big plays and this and that, and we should be taken seriously. And even like I said for last year, you could have said Hunter doesn't get hurt. Maybe our season changes a little bit. I think he was able to come back at the end of the season, but like he missed a significant time that really hurt them. So they got their team back healthy and they're back in people's faces. But I think they need to come out and have like if they could go out and dominate against UCF, I think that's like a type of statement that they need to make. They need to come out here and kind of really put their foot on one of these teams next, especially after that close game that they had the other day. So I want to kind of see that from them. I think that game's in Orlando, if I'm correct. So I want to see them come and like really put a team like that away, and make that kind of statement and really stick it to people and put it in their face.
I mean, it would be something, that's Dion's from Florida, Florida State alum. He recruits heavily out of Florida, so there's going to be recruits at that game. People might think they're for UCF, but don't get it twisted. They for sure are going to be there for Colorado too. Um, I feel like a lot of his naysayers is more so because it's Dion who's the coach. Like if I see I was watching the Pat McAfee show I think, last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, and they had the South Carolina head coach on, and they were interviewing him, and he was talking about his dad, who was the legendary coach. He was the head coach of Virginia Tech football back in the day. He said that they didn't even get to their first bowl game until like year four, right? So when you look at Dion, he comes in with all of this hype because of who he is and what they were able to accomplish when they were at Jackson State. And, you know, on both ends of the spectrum, you got people that are fans of them that are just expecting because of who they are and what they bring in that they should just come in and compete for a national championship right away, which we all, when we deal with reality, know that's not how it works. And then the people that just don't like them, that want to see him fail, who look at it and say, well, this is a new level. They haven't been here before, right? And when you look at it from, a non-tainted lens, it's like this is gonna take time, right? And you know, be mad that they're going through the transfer portal so much is where we're at in sports and college sports now. If their goal should just be to get to, and I know it's not going to be their goal, but if they can get to a bowl game, that's a successful season for them. After 2 years, especially your team, when was the last time Colorado was even relevant, right? So um they can get this win this weekend, especially if they can do it like how you were saying. I'm looking at them like they're for real. Now, I'm not, and when I say for real, I'm not saying like they're gonna go and compete for a national title, and they can go play against Alabama or Ohio State right now, or even Miami. But you know, they're a respectable program. I'm hearing a lot of good things too. I know like people. I've questioned myself, like Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders. Well, we know Travis is gone. Shador's probably going to be gone too. How do they rally back from that? And it sounds like they've got some good things on the come up.
Yeah, I think people are definitely going to want to play for Dion. The attention that it's bringing, just the attitude that he brings. So I think like even after those guys leave, they're going to be able to recruit, and now he can kind of maybe dig into the freshmen coming in. I think trying to win now, which is what he came there with the mindset was. You kind of go through the transfer portal. He had some players with him already from Jackson State and things, so he's trying to bring those guys over and stuff. So I think now where he's at, he can kind of start hitting the high school class a little bit, still hitting the transfer portal and stuff. So they'll get people to want to come there and people want to play for them. I think also people are probably just hating him because it's Dion. I mean, like I said, he was kind of in your face when he played. He was kind of in your face as a coach, so he's not scared to say what he wants to say and do what he wants to do. And I think a lot of people don't like that. They want you to come in, be humble, especially come into a new program. In a program like that, they want you to, kind of wait your turn and then kind of, win first. But I think him with his proven record as a coach, what he was able to do at Jackson State. I know they didn't win it, but I think they had undefeated season to that championship game that they lost. So his sons are kind of the same way, kind of in your face, cocky. So people just want to see things like that fail. So I think there's always going to be those haters for them. It's probably some of the same haters he had when he was playing and anything else he did in his life, and they just followed him over here and still want to see him lose.
Yeah, for sure. WNBA kick playoffs. WNBA playoffs kicked off this weekend. We've already got two teams advancing, the two best teams in the league, the Las Vegas Aces and the New York Liberty, advancing after a 2-0 victory for the Liberty over the Atlanta Dream, and then the Aces take care of business over the Seattle Storm. Right now, we've got the Connecticut Sun playing the Indiana Fever. Sun are up 16-14, coming at the close of the first quarter. And we also will have the Minnesota Lynx playing against the Phoenix Mercury Friday night. Um, I guess Kay, did you get a chance to catch any of the games yesterday?
Yeah, yeah. I caught the end of the Liberty game, and I caught most of the Seattle game. Kind of looking at it, being on my phone a little bit, so I caught most of it.
I'm a little upset that the Liberty and the Aces have to play each other in the semis. Not gonna lie.
uh, yes, but if you look at how the season went, the Aces weren't the Aces as they were. I mean, it's the same team. They're still as dominant. They're still good. They started the season off a little slow. They're kind of on that. They just won back to back. People always tell you how hard it is to three-peat. They're kind of there. They're at that mental fatigue area where they're kind of just trying to get through the season, and that kind of held them back. They're going for a three-peat. The mental that it takes to do that. So I think they're struggling with some of that. Uh, their point guard, I forgot her name right now. I think it's Gray, not Gray. I forgot her name at the moment. She missed most of the season. I think her foot was
Gray,
broken.
yeah, Gray.
Yeah, yeah, Gray.
Or
She missed
you're not
most.
talking about Kelsey Plum, right?
No, no, not Kelsey Plum. Uh, they she missed most of the season. I think her foot was broken to like the All Star break. So getting their starting point guard back has helped them. But they had some issues that they're dealing with going through the season. So I think obviously it's in a way it's going to be a treat to get this in the conference finals. You want it in the finals, but the Aces are kind of where they're supposed to be at the moment. I still think this is going to be a tough series, and I think the Aces still have a chance to win it.
Yeah, no, I agree. But this is like the matchup though. It's kind of I don't want to make that comparison.
Like yeah, it's
I
the
was
finals matchup, but because of
yeah, yeah.
circumstances, we're gonna get it in the conference finals. Uh, but it's they played in the finals last year, so now we're getting it in the conference finals. So it's a finals. It's the two favorite finals matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rematch. These teams seem like there's starting to be a little bit of a rivalry going on there. They both were able to take care of business like they should have. Sabrina last night, 36 points, Liberty career playoff high. Um, Everybody just kind of seems like they're clicking in New York. they've gotten the best of the Aces in the regular season, but we know that the regular season isn't the postseason. And like we said, the Aces are getting their act together. Asia Wilson, unanimous MVP this year. It's going to be a clash of the Titans. I'm gonna be a little biased. I think it's gonna go 5 games, but you know who I'm picking. I'm absolutely picking the New York Liberty. I feel like it's their time. Sabrina is doing her thing. Breonna Stewart's killing it. Jonquel Jones. Everybody just seems like they're clicking and is ready to go. But I do expect it to be a fight.
Yeah, I expect it to be a fight too. I'm leaning towards New York. I think the Liberty have just been the better team this year. I think they're motivated from last year losing in the finals. Uh, the series should have maybe have gone longer than what it was supposed to go. I think it only went like four. Uh, the Aces were missing players and things like that, so they're supposed to kind of win game four. So I think they're motivated to come back, and then this is probably the matchup that they've been waiting for. But because the Aces, like I was saying, haven't been who they usually are this season, I hope they don't come in sleeping on them a little bit. I think the Aces, like I said, they're getting their stuff back together and they're going to be ready. And I think I don't. It's like one of those situations where a team maybe cruises through the season, people maybe forget about them, and
Golden
then they kind
State.
of turn it. Yeah, then they kind of turn it on in the playoffs randomly. But I think if any team will be up for them that they can't sneak up on, it'll be the Liberty. I think the Liberty, like I said, losing that finals last year, this is probably the one team they've been waiting to get back against. So I'm going to go with the Liberty, and I'm going to take the Liberty in four. I get the Aces 1 win at
Really?
home. Yes, I think if they're going to do it, they got it. They should do it. They should do it in four.
I take your word. I mean, game five will be in New York.
Yeah, but I want to like it should be four. They should get it done. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes five, but I think if they want to make that statement, four.
All right, all right. I'm not mad at it. On the other side of things, like we told you guys, Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun are playing right now. Connecticut Sun up 19-14, start of the second quarter. Caitlin Clark, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists right now in this game. We a lot of people were doubting her, rookie coming in, this phenom from Iowa, who is taking the league by storm and brought more attention to the league than they've ever seen, right? And it's a big topic of conversation that's been going on. They're in a bind right now. She didn't play too great in her playoff debut. It's still early right now. Um, I'm not gonna lie to you, like this whole conversation, this whole year has been annoying to me. I'm on this. We can give Caitlin Clark her flowers and we can big up Caitlin Clark without having to tear anybody down. Like, yes, Caitlin Clark is the reason why the WNBA, along with Angel Reese, is getting so much attention this year. That doesn't mean like I'm not going to get into the whole Olympic conversation, but that doesn't mean that Caitlin Clark is better than Asia Wilson or Kelsey Plum or Sabrina Ionescu right now, right? Not saying she can't be, and I believe Caitlin Clark could go down as the greatest women's player to ever play, possibly. But this league is a competitive league and it's a real league. A lot of people haven't been paying attention to it and they're starting to now. But if you really want to focus in and ball, you know that there's hoopers in this league. Um, I don't expect the Fever to come out of this. I think I'm taking Connecticut to close out tonight, but that's not an indictment on Caitlin Clark. The Fever finishing here, considering they were a team that had the number one pick 2 years in a row. This is a great development for them. They've got a solid core they can build around, and it's not the end all be all for them. But let's just pump the brakes a little bit on where this thing is going right now.
Right. I think, like you said, two things could be true. Two people could be playing great, and you don't have to tear one down to bring the other one up. But this goes back to their college days and that rivalry, and it kind of what brought their attention. It's really the reason why some people watch. Some people are just there from that drama, from that championship game a few years back. So I think the the Fever, great. First of all, great season to Caitlin Clark. Obviously won Rookie of the Year, broke a couple records. I think the assist records and things like that. I think they you should pump the brakes on them, but I kind of think like I don't think people should be as surprised that they are where they are right now. You have two number one picks, uh, back to back years. Then you still have Mitchell over there. She was kind of leading them in scoring, so you have some good pieces there. I think Caitlin Clark was kind of maybe not the final piece, but the final piece to get them over that little playoff hump. I think they kind of maybe need to add one more piece to get them over that championship hump. But I think they have what two number one picks. They have a number one. They have two number one picks. They have a number two pick in their starting lineup. So they have the talents there. I think they kind of just was missing that lead guard to come in and kind of lead them, and that's what Caitlin Clark was able to do. But so they're not championship contenders yet, but I also think that like the talent was there. So obviously, pump the brakes. They're not going to be probably in the championship next year, but I think that they got something great going there. The talent's there, something they can build off of, and just watch this team kind of grow together. This is the first season of them together. They're going to get another good rookie in there this year, so we'll see where it takes them. It's good. They're going to get good experience right now playing in this playoffs. I think maybe playing against Connecticut was a bad matchup for them. A team that's been in a few finals the last couple of years. A team that's just waiting to get over that hump to win a championship. Tough defensive team they always been. So, but I think the Fever still have a great future going forward.
For sure, man. Absolutely. Phoenix Mercury going up against the Minnesota Lynx Friday night. Right now, Minnesota is up 1-0. Minnesota is my pick to come out of that side of the bracket. But I do think that this series is going to go all three.
Uh I don't know. I think Minnesota might close it out tomorrow. I think Phoenix has been an up and down team. Obviously, you still have Diana Taurasi. This might be her final game, Friday maybe, depending on how it goes. You have Brittany Griner, but I just feel like Phoenix hasn't really put it together this season. They were kind of they were supposed to be one of the contenders this year, but they were kind of hanging around the middle of the pack. They kind of won maybe one or two more games than the Fever to kind of get the seed that they got now. So they should have been a lot better than what they were. So I think Minnesota's kind of been a well-oiled machine. They won the in-season tournament that the ladies playing, so they've been moving. So I think they kind of handle business, and we get Connecticut and Minnesota in the conference finals. So I think Phoenix, like I said, Phoenix just hasn't really put it together there, and if this is then for Diana Taurasi, what a great career she had.
Oh yeah, 100%. First ballot Hall of Famer, champion. There's not enough that you could say about them. I'm really saying it's gonna go all three because I kind of just respect the body of work that Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner have. Like I'm thinking too high. I feel like those two should still be able to get you one game.
Yeah, maybe I'm just not. I just don't like what I've seen from Phoenix this year. To be honest, I think that they've been too up and down. They've kind of been too inconsistent, and I think that's gonna come back to haunt them in this series. And Minnesota's just they've been playing well. I think they fell off a little bit. No, I think Minnesota were they the two seed going into the playoffs? I think they might be the two seed, or was
They
it
are.
Connecticut? Yeah. So I think Minnesota's been a well-oiled machine all year. They've been playing well. So I got Minnesota.
All right, man. I'm not mad at it. These are
And
definitely
I,
gonna be some. My bad.
and I guess the WNBA just got their charter flights and stuff, but man, I don't. This may be more difficult than I may make it sound, but could we get the 1-1-1 thing? Because I don't really like the 2-1 situation when it comes to home court because I feel like it kind of kills the momentum a little bit. Having two home
Yeah.
games, like the series, a lot of series probably will end in two. If you get that one home game in the middle, team gains some confidence, goes back home, plays well. Obviously, there's more logistics to that goes into their situation, but I would love to see a 1-1-1 situation where it's kind of real home court advantage because like you get that home court advantage, and I guess in any series, if you lose a home game, you lose the home court advantage, and you got to gain it back anyway. But like if I fought for home court advantage all year, I want that game three in my house. I shouldn't be on the road playing that game three. So obviously, again, more logistics, and we'll see where it goes. But I would really like to see that one format.
I was thinking about that the other night, but they really need to get some expansion going. I know they got was it two new teams that they're going to
Three.
be coming in? Three?
They
Awesome.
got Canada, San Francisco, and Portland got announced like 2 weeks ago. So Portland is back, and they should
They
be
need to
adding
get
another team, which I
they need
think that
to
team should be. Sorry, keep cutting you off. I think that team
like
should be in Florida. I'm thinking Tampa, but
I was gonna
that's
say
just my opinion.
Miami.
I think Tampa.
I feel
I
like you
think.
got to give it to a team that's well. I mean, Orlando's doing some stuff right now. But
See,
I'm always matching it up with like what's the NBA team doing? Like,
right.
but you know who needs a team? Houston. Like, what? Bring the Comets back.
That is a fair point. Houston does need a team. I
The
think, but
the com the Comets are the equivalent to the Supersonics. Get even worse because the Comets were a dynasty.
yeah, they got four back. The first four, I think, back to back to back to back.
Cheryl Swoops is the GOAT. Like you can't tell me she's not.
I
Houston
think
Comets.
I think what's the owner's name? Taylor Fertitta. I think he's been in reports of trying to make a bid for a team. So, but I guess you have Dallas. Texas is a big state too. I just think you got to get one in a state that you don't have one in a state yet. So that just taps into another market for you. So I feel like you got it. And Florida's a real big state. Uh,
Yeah.
with me being all around Florida, not that I'm Florida's advocate, but I think I think the Miami's an option. I think it's Miami and Tampa. I think Tampa. You can use the Lightning's arena. Uh, Probably not as many concerts and stuff being used for that during the summertime, which probably the Kaseya Center probably gets a lot of during the summer. Uh, I think while a lot of people travel to Miami in the summer, actually not really. I guess it's more like a wintertime thing. It's kind of too hot for some people out here in the summer. I just think Tampa has everything but the basketball. They got the Lightning. They got the uh, the Buccaneers. They
I always
got
just link them with Orlando though.
they got the Rays. But you
How
could
what's Orlando like an out? Not even an hour
hour. It's like
away.
between an hour and 2 hours, depending on traffic and things like that. I I would if I link them to Orlando, but put the team in Tampa. I think
Yeah, yeah. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
the
You kind of talked me into it. I'm not gonna lie.
they have everything but basketball in Tampa. You got to get, and then it's like you're not. While if you put them with Orlando or Miami, you're kind of trying to snatch that fan base and say, "Hey, come over here and just." You still, if you link them to Orlando, it's only like an hour or so away. You get that Orlando connection, but then Tampa has its own fan base that hasn't been tapped into for basketball yet. It has every other sport but basketball. So I would plant it there. We're gonna tap into that. You can drag a little bit of Orlando this way. We're not too far. Hey, come hang out with us. Have the Magic kind of piggyback you guys. But Tampa has everything but basketball. That's my marketing strategy there. There's a
I'm not
fan
mad at
base
it.
that has everything. So it's kind of like during the summer sometimes people want to get away from basketball. But if we never have basketball, it's like summertime's the only time I get basketball. So if I've been watching the Magic for the last 8 months and maybe they've been stressing me out, summertime, I want to enjoy my summer. I'm probably not going to really try to go see the girls. I'm in Tampa. I don't get to see no basketball year round. Summertime comes, we out here. Put it in Tampa. It's my market.
Yeah, you talked me into it. Um, I do. I think that they definitely if they get the expansion going to how many teams do we have in the league right now?
I think we're at like 14. These new teams would take you to 17. Or we're at
If
13, which
we
takes you to 16.
we can get to a solid 25 teams in the league, start like distributing
Yeah.
like conferences and stuff like that. We're heading in the right direction.
I think if they can get to 20, because right now they're at six, they're going to be at 16 or 17. You add three more teams, and then you have 10 in each conference. You can do an East West, do 10 in the East, 10 in the West.
But then what's your playoff number? Because that's kind of my thing too, why I'm saying they need more growth. Like they can't I don't think they can keep rolling with the in basketball. I'm just not a fan of like a best of three. And I can I'm not a fan of a best of five either, but I can tolerate it. But a best of three, I can't do it.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Maybe because we're used to 7 game series, but I feel you on the best of three. I think even you can. But here's the thing: you get to 20, the seeding kind of stays the same. I guess it's four from each conference. Because
Yeah, because
right
it's the
now
semis
there's
right now.
yeah, you're basically you started in the semis where it's like we have four series going on. So you'll have four from each conference. That means six don't make it in each conference, which I think is a solid number. Or you give one team a bye. You give the top seed in each conference a bye, and then no, is that even out? I don't know. Maybe you could do like a bye situation or something like that. Uh, don't quote me on that. But you can try like a bye situation if you want to add more teams where you want to get five in each conference and uh, six. Or I guess it would have to be six or something. Else. But anyways, you get four in. I think six not making it is solid because you have to be competitive to make the playoffs at that point. Like not just anybody gets in, and then you just change the series from 3 to 5 in the first round. So there's more teams, probably more money coming in, and you just make the first round series a little longer. Change them to 5 instead of 3.
They definitely got to do like a lot of studying. Like I'm not mad at the buy either, but then let's look at like what how the MLB. Well, no, I'm not even gonna say the MLB, but the how does the NFL handle the buy, which is tougher because again, like it's a bigger playoff format. But how do they handle the buy? Like
Or
do a little
or
bit of due diligence there.
I got another idea. Why don't you do a play-in instead of a bye? Do like the NBA play-in, where you play one extra game, the two bottom seeds or the four bottom seeds for a chance to get into the playoffs, and then you get in. Because I feel like if you're gonna up the series to 5, and then the top seed gets to sit out that first round, it's kind of tough because one team might come up a 5 game series. And I've been sitting at home for the last. I guess there's a disadvantage just for sitting at home too. But I've been sitting at home for the last week. You've been flying back and forth across the country, and now you're gonna come here and probably get smoked in game 1. So I think maybe like a play-in situation may be better, and it's like a 1 game elimination kind of play-in, create a little hype.
I'm not mad at that. Definitely. I mean, they do it in the NBA anyway. You kind of got to emulate how things have been going there. Anything that's gonna everything's about like building up the league right now.
Right.
Which I guess it gets lost on it. See me like I want everything fast, like because I'm just so you like I remember the WNBA as a kid. Obviously, it wasn't like where it's at now, but I've been watching it long enough to like where I'm kind of in a place where I would like to see it be where it's never gonna be where the NBA is at, but adjacent.
Right. I think you also got to remember there's college players right now who have just as much attention, maybe not as much attention, but there's
Juju.
all these college players are coming in with more attention now because of social media. When Juju hits the league, it's gonna be crazy. When Paige hits the league next year, it's gonna be crazy. There's still like other players when they hit the league, it's gonna be crazy, and it's gonna keep getting crazier from here. So you gotta have space for them to go, and you expect that to maybe help grow the league. And like you said, from there you gotta capitalize on certain things. So imagine we get a play in with Juju versus Page, and then they played each other in the championship. I mean not championship. They played each other in the Elite Eight, and they're gonna play each other this year during the season. So now there's a little rivalry brewing up. You get them play each other in a play-in game. That's gonna create a lot of hype.
Yeah. No, I definitely see what you're saying there, man. I mean, we'll see. We'll definitely see where things heading. But we can all agree the WNBA is definitely heading in a right direction.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, there's gonna be the hype is there now. People seen it. People have seemed like they're appreciating it, and there's girls coming in, ladies, whatever, who have some attention, and they're gonna bring some more hype to the game. I think people, hey, if Juju could have came out right now, I think people would have been lined up to go watch her play in the league. So
Yeah. But the other thing too is these girls like Caitlyn could have been went to the WNBA, but she Angel Reese could have been went to the WNBA. But the opportunity, the money, the profit opportunity isn't there for them like it is with the NIL deals in college. Like Juju is gonna
I
same
no,
thing
I
with
think
Paige. Paige,
the girls also have to stay 3 years at least. I think it's like a
but did
requirement.
like Kate didn't Angel and Caitlyn opt to go back to school
Yeah, I
because
think
of the money?
they had the COVID year though, so they could have went. They could have took it the COVID extra year because of COVID.
But they like if Juju's making more money at USC, she's not going to the WNBA right away.
I don't think so. But
Same thing
I
with
do agree
Paige.
with that point. Like the money. I think it's the money, and it's kind of like the scheduling. I feel like maybe it's just me. I feel like basketball is like everyone's playing in the winter, and then you'll be playing like in the summer. I think it's kind of more of like you're on the schedule in college. You're making enough money where it's like, all right, let me just enjoy the college experience, and then like you play during here, you have your summers off, yada yada yada. Like the WNBA is kind of like you're kind of jumping into something there. You have to find something to do with yourself the whole winter. When you usually used to playing basketball, whether you go overseas, whether this or that. So it kind of throws your schedule off just a little bit.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Um, hey, you got anything else before we get out of here?
Nah, man, that's it. Again, I appreciate when I came in and when I stopped by. When I was gonna watch this later. Appreciate you guys.
For sure. I'm calling it right now. New York Giants getting their first victory over Dallas since 2016. Book it. Book it. Let me hit you with the Charles real quick. Wait, yeah, there we go.
Uh,
Drew Marshall. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Guaranteed. Giants win. We're gonna get a Liberty Championship this year, Kay. Remember that.
uh, who you think wins the World Series?
We're gonna have a lot of MLB talk next show, but this is a weird year for baseball. This is a weird year for baseball. A lot of teams coming in with a very similar record. Like every team has holes. There's not this is the most parity baseball's ever seen. I feel like the Yankees are the only team right now, even though Nestor Cortez just went on a 15-day IL. But even with that, it shouldn't hurt them that much. They're the only team right now with a definitive starting rotation coming into the postseason. So I'm not saying that because I'm a Yankees fan. Because of that factor, and I could absolutely see the Yankees blowing it too. But because of that factor, I'm gonna pick the Yankees to get 28.
28. Jesus Christ.
It's a long history.
uh, yeah. I mean, I was at the Dodgers Marlins game.
I saw
Got the
that.
win.
You got to see
Got
the 50-50.
Yeah, got to witness the 50-50. So man, uh, shout out to him for getting the 50-50. And
I hope that they could take care of business. I would love to see the Yankees play them in the World Series. LA, New York, Yankees, Dodgers, like that would be fire.
right. All right. The
Otani Judge.
Phillies are pretty good this year, so you gotta watch out for
You gotta watch out for the Mets.
the Phillies.
Can't
All
sleep
right, so
like here.
that.
The Mets are back.
So shout out to the Mets.
Shout out
And
to the Mets, man.
that's all I got for this week.
All right, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like Kay said, we will be back sometime next week. We'll be recapping everything from this week in the NFL, WNBA playoffs, get a little CFB in maybe. We'll talk some MLB. So come on down. Make sure you guys are in the chat with your questions. We appreciate you, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.